There's something I've learned after decades of working on Toyotas that most owners never realize until it's too late. Two cars can leave the factory on the same day, with the same engine, same transmission, same everything. And yet one will feel worn out at 180,000 miles, while the other is barely broken in at 350,000. The difference isn't luck. It isn't driving style. And it isn't even how reliable Toyota builds their engines. It comes down to how wear is managed early and consistently. In the United States, we maintain Toyotas based on tolerance. As long as the car starts, runs, and doesn't show a warning light, we assume everything is fine. We stretch intervals because the manual allows it. We trust lifetime fluids because they sound reassuring. We wait until something feels wrong. Toyota knows this, and their American maintenance schedules are written to fit that mindset. They're designed to reduce ownership friction, not to preserve the vehicle forever. In Japan, Toyotas are treated very differently. The goal isn't to see how long the car can go before something breaks. The goal is to slow mechanical aging as much as possible. That difference in philosophy changes everything. I first noticed this pattern when engines started coming into my shop that technically had perfect service records, yet showed wear far earlier than they should have. Timing components showing fatigue. Oil control rings starting to stick. Valve trains darkened with varnish long before high mileage. These weren't abused vehicles, they were maintained correctly by the book. And yet, when I compared them to Toyotas owned by people who followed more conservative routines, the contrast was obvious the moment a valve cover came off. Japanese Toyota owners don't wait for oil to be bad. They assume oil is degrading the moment the engine starts. That's why the 10,000-mile oil change interval, while technically safe for warranty compliance, is never treated as a target in Japan. 5,000 miles is considered the practical limit, even with full synthetic oil, even on new engines, even on hybrids. Oil doesn't just lubricate. It cools internal parts, suspends microscopic metal, neutralizes acids, and prevents deposits from forming in tight passages. By the time oil reaches the far end of an extended interval, it may still lubricate well enough to avoid immediate damage, but it no longer protects against slow wear. That slow wear is what determines whether an engine reaches 200,000 miles tired or 400,000 miles healthy. I've opened engines that followed extended intervals their entire lives and found sludge beginning to form under the valve cover before 100,000 miles. Not catastrophic sludge, but enough to restrict oil return paths and trap heat. Those same engines often develop oil consumption later, not because Toyota built them poorly, but because deposits slowly interfered with ring function over time. Once that starts, it never truly stops. Engines maintained on consistent 5,000-mile oil changes tell a different story. Even past 200,000 miles, the internals remain clean, oil control stays stable, and timing components wear evenly instead of prematurely. The difference in cost amounts to one extra oil change per year. The difference in outcome can be an extra decade of usable life. Japanese owners also treat the first 1,000 miles as critical. In the US, most drivers treat break-in casually, a little gentle driving at first, then business as usual. In Japan, the break-in period is considered foundational. During those first miles, piston ring seat, bearings polish, and wear surfaces establish their long-term patterns. Abuse during that window doesn't cause immediate failure, but it permanently increases friction and oil consumption for the rest of the engine's life. That's why Japanese owners avoid high RPM, avoid sustained constant speeds, and vary load intentionally during early driving. They allow full warm-ups and avoid short trips whenever possible. And almost without exception, they change the oil early, often around 1,000 miles, to remove metallic debris generated during initial wear-in. Leaving that material in circulation for thousands of miles is something they simply wouldn't consider. Transmission fluid is another area where philosophy diverges sharply. In the US, Toyota's lifetime fluid labeling has convinced many owners that servicing the transmission is unnecessary. In Japan, the idea that fluid exposed to heat, pressure, and clutch material could last forever is considered unrealistic. Transmission fluid is changed early and regularly, typically around 30,000 miles, using simple drain and fill procedures rather than aggressive flushing. The reason is straightforward. Transmission fluid does far more than lubricate. It controls hydraulic pressure, manages heat, and allows precise clutch engagement. As it ages, it loses viscosity stability and accumulates debris. Waiting until a transmission feels rough means damage has already occurred internally. Servicing early prevents wear from ever accelerating. Cooling systems are treated with the same caution. While Toyota coolant is excellent, Japanese owners don't assume additives last indefinitely. Early coolant replacement removes brake-in contaminants and prevents slow chemical degradation that attacks seals, gaskets, and aluminum surfaces. This is why water pumps and radiators often last far longer in vehicles maintained this way. What ties all of this together is a simple belief: wear should never be allowed to accumulate unchecked. Japanese Toyota owners spend small amounts regularly to avoid large failures later. American owners are often encouraged to do the opposite, stretching maintenance to reduce short-term costs while unknowingly increasing long-term risk. If you own a Toyota and plan to keep it, this mindset shift matters more than any single part or repair. If this is already changing how you think about maintenance, take a moment to like the video, subscribe, and comment with your Toyota's year, model, and mileage. I see every comment, and those real-world examples help other owners understand what's actually possible with these cars. Once you understand the Japanese mindset around wear prevention, the rest of their maintenance habits stop sounding extreme and start sounding logical. This is where most Toyota owners unknowingly shorten the life of an otherwise bulletproof vehicle. Not through abuse, but through small delays that compound over time. One of the biggest differences shows up in how ignition components are treated. In the US, spark plugs are often left alone until 100,000 or even 120,000 miles, because modern plugs are advertised as long life. Technically, they will still fire at that mileage. That's not the same as firing efficiently. Japanese Toyota owners replace spark plugs much earlier, typically around 60,000 miles, sometimes sooner on engines that run hotter or see frequent short trips. A worn plug doesn't usually cause an obvious misfire at first. Instead, combustion becomes slightly less complete. That small inefficiency forces ignition coils to work harder, increases exhaust temperatures, and places extra load on the catalytic converter. Over tens of thousands of miles, that added stress shortens the life of multiple systems at once. Replacing plugs early keeps combustion stable and prevents those downstream failures that show up much later and cost far more. Cooling systems receive similar attention. American drivers are often told Toyota's pink coolant lasts 100,000 miles or more, and many never touch it at all. Japanese owners rarely wait that long. The first coolant change is done early to remove manufacturing residue and break-in contaminants, then replaced on a conservative schedule to maintain corrosion protection. Coolant doesn't just regulate temperature, it protects aluminum surfaces, seals, and gaskets from chemical attack. As it ages, even high-quality coolant slowly becomes more acidic. That acidity doesn't cause immediate failure. It quietly degrades water pump seals, thermostat housings, heater cores, and radiator seams. When those parts finally fail, it feels sudden, but the damage started years earlier. Brake fluid is another overlooked example. In the US, it's often ignored until a brake job or failure forces attention. In Japan, it's treated as a time-based service rather than a mileage-based one. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air. That moisture lowers its boiling point and promotes internal corrosion in brake lines, calipers, and ABS components. Replacing brake fluid every 2 years keeps the entire system stable and dramatically reduces the likelihood of expensive hydraulic failures later. Differentials and transfer cases are handled with the same discipline. Many Toyota trucks and SUVs reach high mileage with original differentials, but only when the fluid is changed early and regularly. Japanese owners don't wait for noise or vibration. The first service removes break-in metal, and subsequent changes prevent abrasive wear from accumulating. Once gear surfaces start wearing unevenly, no fluid change can reverse it. Fuel quality also plays a larger role than most owners realize. In Japan, premium fuel is commonly used in engines designed for it, regardless of whether regular is technically acceptable. Over the long term, lower octane fuel contributes to carbon buildup, especially in direct injection engines. That buildup doesn't usually cause immediate drivability issues, but it slowly interferes with airflow and combustion efficiency. Carbon buildup is one of the main reasons engines lose power and develop oil consumption later in life. Japanese owners avoid that problem by fueling conservatively and preventing deposits before they form. The added cost at the pump is minor compared to the cost of carbon cleaning services or internal wear that develops later. Another critical difference is restraint. Japanese Toyota owners are far less likely to modify their vehicles. Larger wheels, heavier tires, suspension changes, aftermarket intakes, and tuning all increase stress on components that were carefully balanced by Toyota's engineers. Even small changes alter load paths through wheel bearings, axles, suspension joints, and transmissions. Keeping the vehicle stock isn't about avoiding fun, it's about preserving engineered balance. Toyota designs its drivetrains to last hundreds of thousands of miles when operating within intended parameters. Once those parameters change, wear accelerates in ways that aren't always obvious until years later. Annual inspections are treated seriously as well. In Japan, vehicles undergo thorough checks that catch small issues before they cascade. Bushings are inspected, suspension joints checked, belts examined, battery health verified, and exhaust systems evaluated for early corrosion. Fixing small problems early prevents secondary damage that multiplies repair costs later. This approach explains why many Japanese market Toyotas appear almost boring mechanically. They aren't pushed to their limits. They aren't run until failure. They are maintained consistently, conservatively, and deliberately. If this is making you rethink how you've been caring for your Toyota, take a second to like the video and subscribe. And drop a comment with your Toyota's mileage and whether you plan to keep it long-term. Seeing real numbers from real owners helps put these principles into perspective. The biggest takeaway so far is this: Toyota didn't accidentally build engines capable of extreme longevity. They built engines that reward discipline. When maintenance is delayed, wear accelerates quietly. When maintenance is conservative, wear stays controlled. That difference doesn't show up in the first 5 years. It shows up after 150,000 miles, when one Toyota feels tired and another still feels tight. The habits that lead to 500,000 miles aren't dramatic. They're repetitive, boring, and incredibly effective. And there's one final piece of this philosophy that determines whether all of this effort actually pays off over decades. All of the habits you've heard so far only work if one final rule is followed, and this is the one most Toyota owners break without realizing it. Japanese owners don't just maintain more often, they maintain with patience. That patience shows up in how the car is driven, how it's warmed up, how it's shut down, and how problems are handled the moment they appear. The way an engine is treated daily matters just as much as what fluids go into it. In Japan, aggressive driving is rare, not because the cars can't handle it, but because unnecessary stress shortens component life. Hard acceleration on a cold engine, extended high RPM driving, and abrupt shutdowns after heavy load all create heat spikes that wear bearings, seals, and piston rings faster than most owners expect. Toyota engines are incredibly tolerant, but they are not immune to physics. Metal expands with heat, oil thins under load, clearances change. Japanese drivers give the engine time to stabilize before demanding power. Even on modern Toyotas, the first few minutes of driving are kept gentle. That allows oil to fully circulate and temperatures to normalize evenly across the block, head, and velvetrain. Equally important is how the engine is shut off. After highway driving, towing, or long uphill climbs, Japanese owners often let the engine idle briefly before turning it off. This isn't superstition. It allows heat to dissipate gradually and prevents oil from baking onto hot internal surfaces. Over time, that habit reduces varnish buildup and protects seals that would otherwise harden and leak prematurely. Problems are also handled differently. In the US, warning lights are often ignored until performance noticeably drops. In Japan, any warning light or unfamiliar noise triggers immediate inspection. Not because the car is unreliable, but because small issues are cheap and large issues are not. A minor oil seep fixed early prevents oil starvation later. A weak ignition coil replaced early prevents catalytic converter damage. A cooling system issue addressed immediately prevents warped heads and blown gaskets. This mindset is why high-mileage Japanese Toyotas often look unremarkable on paper, but feel tight and smooth in person. They haven't been pushed until failure. They've been protected from it. There's also a psychological difference that's hard to ignore. Japanese owners tend to buy cars with the intention of keeping them for a long time. That long-term mindset changes decision-making. Maintenance isn't viewed as a burden. It's viewed as preserving value. Spending a little more now to avoid spending a lot later becomes an obvious choice rather than a reluctant one. This is where American owners often go wrong. Cars are treated as disposable. Maintenance schedules are stretched, fluids are labeled lifetime, repairs are postponed. Then when something fails at 180,000 miles, the conclusion is that the car wasn't built like they used to be. In reality, the difference wasn't the engineering, it was the care. Toyota builds engines with conservative tolerances, strong internals, and robust cooling systems. They assume proper maintenance will be followed. When it is, the results are extraordinary. When it isn't, even the best design can only compensate for so long. One of the most telling things I learned from Japanese technicians wasn't a specific interval or product. It was their reaction to deferred maintenance. They didn't see it as normal. They saw it as unnecessary risk. To them, pushing a fluid past its effective life made no sense when the cost of replacement was so small compared to the cost of failure. That philosophy explains why many Toyotas in Japan quietly exceed mileage milestones that feel extreme elsewhere. 400,000 miles isn't a miracle. It's the result of thousands of small decisions made correctly over time. If you've been following along and thinking this sounds achievable, that's because it is. None of these habits require special tools, rare parts, or insider access. They require consistency, restraint, and the willingness to act before something breaks. If you plan to keep your Toyota for the long haul, now is the moment to decide how you'll treat it. You can follow the minimum schedule and hope for the best, or you can adopt the preservation mindset that Toyota engineers originally designed the car around. If this perspective changed how you think about your Toyota, take a second to like the video and subscribe. And leave a comment with your current mileage and how long you plan to keep your car. Seeing long-term owners share their numbers is one of the best reminders of what disciplined maintenance can achieve. Toyota didn't hide these principles to be secretive. They assumed owners would naturally take care of what they wanted to keep. In Japan, that assumption holds true. Anywhere else, it's a choice. Maintain it like it's meant to last forever, and very often it will.